The ascent toward beauty in Plotinus's Enneads. From sensory perception to the contemplation of the soul. In the philosophical system of Plotinus, beauty occupies a central position, serving as both an aesthetic and metaphysical principle that reflects the structure of reality itself. For Plotinus, beauty is not merely a matter of pleasing appearances or harmonious forms perceived by the senses. Rather, it is an expression of the unity and intelligibility that emanate from the ultimate source of all being, the One. His treatment of beauty in the Enneads, particularly in Ennead 6, on beauty, and related passages, presents a spiritual and intellectual ascent from the appreciation of visible beauty to the contemplation of the beauty inherent in the soul, and, ultimately, the divine. This essay explores that progression, analyzing how Plotinus moves from sensory recognition to metaphysical insight, leading to a profound revaluation of what it means to perceive and love beauty. 1. The starting point: beauty and the senses. Plotinus begins his discussion by acknowledging the ordinary human experience of beauty. People recognize certain things as beautiful: a human face, a natural landscape, a work of art, because of the pleasure they evoke through sight and hearing. These forms of beauty seem at first to depend on proportion, symmetry, and harmony, as classical Greek thought had long maintained. The Pythagoreans, for instance, identified beauty with mathematical order and numerical proportion, while Plato associated it with the ideal forms that sensible objects imperfectly imitate. Plotinus, however, is not content with this traditional view. He questions why symmetry and proportion should be pleasing in the first place. If beauty consisted merely in the proper arrangement of parts, then every composite entity that exhibits proportion should be beautiful. Yet, as he observes, some symmetrical things fail to appear beautiful, while certain simple, non-composite things, such as light, color, or the virtue of a soul, can strike us as beautiful despite lacking proportion in any literal sense. This suggests that beauty cannot be reduced to mere physical structure. Instead, Plotinus argues that when we perceive beauty, we are recognizing something immaterial that shines through the material form. The senses themselves do not fully grasp beauty; they are only instruments through which the soul perceives it. Beauty, therefore, is a manifestation of the soul as recognition of form, the presence of intelligible order within the sensible world. What pleases us is not the material substance of things, but the form that organizes them, the reflection of a higher reality within the realm of becoming. 2. The role of form and participation. To understand this insight, Plotinus draws upon Plato's doctrine of participation. In Ennead 6, he maintains that beautiful things are beautiful because they participate in a higher beauty, just as all intelligible things ultimately participate in the One. The form that gives order to a material object is a trace of the intelligible world, a kind of spiritual light that the soul perceives when it contemplates beauty in the sensible domain. In this sense, beauty is not a subjective feeling, but an objective property rooted in the metaphysical structure of reality. When the soul perceives a beautiful object, it experiences a kind of recognition, a remembrance of its own origin in the intelligible world. The soul, being itself of intelligible nature, responds with delight when it encounters traces of that world in the material realm. This explains the immediate and sometimes overwhelming pleasure associated with the perception of beauty. It is the joy of the soul recognizing itself, its true home, in the reflection of intelligible form within the sensible. Thus, the perception of beauty is already a spiritual act. It awakens the soul from its immersion in matter and draws it upward, reminding it of the higher reality from which it derives. Plotinus writes that the experience of beauty calls the soul back to itself, stirring within it the desire to ascend beyond the senses toward the source of all beauty. 3. The ascent to the beauty of the soul. The next stage in Plotinus. Vision of beauty involves turning away from external appearances toward the inner beauty of the soul. Once the soul recognizes that visible forms derive their beauty from the presence of intelligible order, it begins to seek beauty not in external things, but within itself. Plotinus encourages the soul to engage in a kind of spiritual introspection, akin to the sculptor who carves away excess material to reveal the hidden form within the stone. This metaphor, one of the most famous in the Enneads, expresses the process of purification and self-realization that leads to genuine beauty. Withdraw into yourself, Plotinus advises, and look. And if you do not yet see yourself beautiful, then act as does the creator of a statue that is to be made beautiful. He cuts away here, he smooths there until he has shown forth in the marble the beautiful face that he sees in his mind. The beauty of the soul is thus achieved through an ethical and intellectual discipline by removing everything that is deformed, impure, or contrary to reason. Virtue becomes the means by which the soul acquires true beauty, for virtue aligns the soul with the intelligible order that is its origin and essence. At this level, beauty is no longer a matter of sensory perception, but of moral and intellectual perfection. The beautiful soul is one that is harmonious, self-controlled, and unified, reflecting the order of the divine intellect, nous. In this stage of ascent, the soul transcends the illusions of the material world and recognizes that the true locus of beauty lies within the spiritual and rational nature of being itself. 4. The intelligible beauty, the realm of the forms and nous. Beyond the beauty of the individual soul lies a still higher beauty, the beauty of the intelligible world, the domain of nous, or divine intellect. In this realm, beauty and being are identical. For all things there exist as perfect, immutable forms, eternally unified within the divine mind. The beauty that we experience in the soul and in the sensible world is but a reflection or shadow of this ultimate intelligible beauty. Plotinus describes this realm as a world of pure light and clarity, where each being shines with the perfection of its own essence. There, beauty is not something perceived from without, but something that is identical with truth, goodness, and being itself. In contemplating the intelligible world, the soul transcends the duality of subject and object. It no longer gazes upon beauty as something external, but participates in beauty directly, through union with the intelligible order. At this stage, beauty ceases to be a property of things and becomes an ontological principle, the radiance of intelligibility that emanates from the one through the nous. Every act of contemplation, every movement of understanding is itself a participation in this intelligible beauty. Plotinus even suggests that the contemplation of the forms is an act of love, an eros directed toward the perfection of the intelligible. This love propels the soul ever upward, toward the source of all beauty. 5. The ultimate beauty, the one beyond being. The highest point of Plotinus's ascent is the vision of the One, the absolute source of all reality and beauty. The One is beyond being, beyond intellect, and beyond all forms. It cannot be described or comprehended. It is pure unity, the cause of all multiplicity and differentiation. And yet, it is also the ultimate beauty, for it is the origin of all that is beautiful. In approaching the One, the soul must abandon not only the senses but also thought itself. The contemplation of the One is an experience of mystical union in which the soul transcends all distinctions and becomes one with the source of beauty. In that moment, there is no longer a subject contemplating an object, but a complete identification of the soul with the divine. Plotinus describes this state as the flight of the alone to the alone, an experience of ecstatic simplicity in which the soul realizes that it has always been one with the source it sought. This final stage completes the ascent from the world of appearances to the realm of ultimate reality. What began as the perception of beauty in sensible things ends in the recognition that true beauty lies beyond all form and image, in the ineffable unity of the One. The soul, purified of all attachment to the material world, becomes itself beautiful by participating in that unity, and in doing so, it attains the highest form of happiness and fulfillment. 6. The revaluation of the sensible world. Although Plotinus urges the soul to turn away from the world of sense, his philosophy does not entail a complete rejection of the physical realm. The material world for him is not evil or wholly devoid of value. It is simply an image, a reflection of higher realities. The beauty we perceive through the senses is a legitimate, though imperfect, manifestation of the intelligible beauty that permeates all things. The danger lies in mistaking the image for the source, in clinging to appearances instead of allowing them to guide us upward. Thus, the path to the One passes through the sensible world, but does not end there. Beauty in nature and art serves as a sign, a symbol that awakens the soul's memory of its divine origin. In recognizing the beauty of the world, we are called to ascend beyond it, to use the visible as a ladder toward the invisible. Plotinus' vision is therefore not one of negation, but of transfiguration. The world becomes transparent to the divine light that shines through it. 7. Conclusion. Beauty as the path of ascent. Plotinus's account of beauty in the Enneads presents a profound spiritual journey, beginning with the simple act of perceiving beauty in the world and culminating in the mystical union with the One. This ascent involves a continuous purification of vision, a movement from the outer to the inner, from the particular to the universal, from the sensible to the intelligible. Beauty, in this sense, is not merely an aesthetic category, but a metaphysical and ethical one. It reveals the order and unity of reality and serves as a guide for the soul's return to its source. In recognizing beauty through the senses, we awaken to the presence of form and intelligibility in the material world. In cultivating the beauty of the soul, we align ourselves with reason and virtue, becoming participants in the divine order. And in contemplating the intelligible beauty of the nous, we approach the ultimate beauty that transcends all being, the One itself. To love beauty, therefore, is to desire the good. To contemplate beauty is to participate in the divine. Through beauty, Plotinus shows, the soul finds the path back to itself and to the ineffable unity from which all things flow.